Namaste. Jai Shivaya. A lot of time this question comes up as to why one should pay the fees for all the courses that are being offered by different spiritual gurus around the world. Why there is a fees? Why all this is not free of cost? And why for wisdom one needs to pay? And that too a spiritual kind of wisdom. If it was physics, chemistry, that was fine. But for this spiritual wisdom, why one needs to pay? Why isn't all that free of cost? Okay. And that's like saying, in some words, that electricity or the electric current or the ability of this universe to create electricity is free of cost. Still we pay for electricity, right? Anyways, let's start this topic from a very relevant point, which is so important that without understanding that point, nobody's spiritual journey gets completed. Okay, so forget about paying gurus for now. Let's start from how does one gets the human body. So we get the human birth or human body, and only when the karmic balance of good karmas and bad karmas, they both are balanced in some way. Okay, that is when one gets the human birth or human body. Now that means some bad ones and some good ones are still pending, and they are there in our account, right? Good ones are called as punya. Good karmas are referred to as punya, and bad karmas are referred to as pap. So some pap and punya are still pending in our karmic account, which we are going to deplete in this lifetime. Apart from that, people are going to create a whole lot of karma, which will be either good or either bad. So their karmic balance, their karmic bank balance is going to grow. And it's not going to deplete from where they have started. It's going to grow continuously. Now the reason we teach a lot of kriyas and way of living to all the spiritual seekers in such a way that they stop creating karma, neither good nor bad. Stop doing karma altogether. Get out of that cycle, that hamster wheel. Because whether it is a good karma or it is a bad karma, one has to go through the consequences of it, right? So that means taking another birth. Even if you have to live like a king and you did a lot of good karma and you live like a king, so what? You're still in the bondage. You haven't attained moksha, right? So what's the purpose? What's the use of it? So we give lot of sadhanas in such a way so that people stop creating karmas. Now, one of the very important thing out of all this is how does the karma that you already have gets depleted. You have to empty your karmic bucket without depleting the karma that binds you to the sansara. No spiritual seeker is growing or evolving or moving forward in their spiritual journey. This is such an important point. People go on doing sadhanas left and right. 24/7 they can involve themselves into sadhanas. But when it comes to the understanding, basic understanding, fundamental understanding of the karma, they do not have that. And the most basic and fundamental understanding of the karmic account is that you have to deplete it, and deplete it so carefully that only the part where you had karma tied, some neutral karma or bad karmas or whatever karmas tied to your karmic account, only they must be depleted. Good ones or the punya must be saved at any cost to complete the bad ones. Okay, to deplete the bad karmic account. What is the way? That we live from the will of the surrender. We live in life in samarpan. That is what is called as karma yoga. That no matter what is thrown at you, no matter what comes in life with you, you just accept it, bear it, and keep on going. death of loved ones, disease in your body, in other person's body, in the body of your loved ones. There are things that are beyond your control, right? Some flood happens and you have to evacuate from your house. Fire happens and your house is destroyed. Somebody takes the money from your bank, or something, other bad things happen, or not so good things happen. Just life just keeps going the way it is going, right? So keep on bearing whatever the way life is, and living the life in samarpan to karmic balance that you are left with. Okay, so that is the way to deplete the not so good karma, or you can say pap. Now pap are of varying degrees. Some people have done really bad ones, and some people have done a little lighter ones, small things here and there, and some people have done very heinous pap. Those who have done something very heinous, they are not walking their spiritual journey in this lifetime. So let's not talk about them. But those who have done little bit of bad here and there, they have to bear it. Either it will come onto their body, or in the form of disease or accident or something, or it will be in their life. Some loss here and there will happen. And all the pap was, the way to settle it and way to understand it is that there is a learning in everything that happens in your life. There is always a lesson, and we have to make sure we learn that lesson. And that way, that karmic account will be closed, or whatever we have to loss we have to bear, we'll bear it and it will be closed. Now, let's talk about the balance of punya. How does that gets depleted? What are we doing which will spend our good karmas? What are we doing that will spend or minimize the balance of punya? That one word, one term for it is free ride. You went to a temple for the food because they were offering good food that day, good prasad that day. And you went there, you ate it, and you came back. You did not donate anything. You came back. Somebody said, this is happening free there, let's go. You went there, you ate, you dined, and you had a drink or whatever. Whatever offering was free, you just took it and came back. Neither you did any seva. Seva means helping those people, those who have organized that free event, helping them in some way, volunteering there in some way. So you didn't do anything like that, right? You didn't help them out clean up, or you didn't help them cook, you didn't help them arrange, you didn't help them set up, you did not help them doing anything absolutely. And maybe there was no need, they didn't ask for that kind of a help, but then you could have donated. You didn't even donate the money. And that way, you go on living life. You went there, this lecture was free, you attended that and came back. And then you went somewhere else and this was free or that was free. Entire YouTube platform is free these days. You do not even have to go anywhere. And that is the fastest way to deplete your punya. Fastest way to deplete your punya. So nothing, since the day we are born and we have taken this body, nothing is free. When it comes to this body, this mind, this existence, everything on this life, on this planet, this lifetime, this existence is transaction. This body will go back to the Panch Tattvas, right? Wherever you have gathered it, either we will be buried or we will be cremated, and this body will go back to the Panch Tattvas, because it is made up of Panch Tattvas. We took it from there. We have to give it back. There's no way taking this body somewhere. Nothing came free. You have to return it to Mother Earth, return it to the planet, return it to the existence, cosmic existence that we are. In the same way, our parents raised us, right? Let me tell you about myself. So when I was young, very young, and somehow I was born with this knowledge that, I have to settle my karmic account. This thought, this thing was there in me since childhood, that I cannot take from people without giving them anything in return. So when I was young, I used to just go and massage my grandmothers and, their feet, their body. If they had pain somewhere here and there in their body, I would just go and massage them, even to my mother, to my father. So the idea was they were raising me and I had no money to pay them. How do I pay them? By helping them, by doing service to them, right? In the same way, wherever I went, I had this one thing in my mind. Always, even if somebody called me out of social relationship, my friend circle or somebody, if somebody called me for dinner, for lunch, or for anything, I would make sure either I call them back, and not very late in the process. I'll try because I just wanted to get rid of that burden. I didn't want my punya to be spent. I didn't want my punya balance or my good karmic balance to go away. Okay, because that is the most important, most valuable currency that a spiritual seeker has. So I would just call them for lunch or dinner. If somebody gave me something and said, oh, it was, it was not being used in our house and you can keep it, then also I would either offer them food, or I would either offer them a ride to some place. I would just offer them something in return. I never would take anything without giving somebody something in the something back in the process. Okay, and even when I was walking my spiritual journey, for books I already paid. Right, for all the books that I bought, we already pay for them. Book doesn't come for free. And whichever blog I read, and if something clicked, I would email to their blog writers and would ask them, if you have a way, I would like to donate some money, whatever the amount. I just would like to donate the money. I didn't want to just take something and not give anything in return. And in this online world, there was no way to, it's not easy for blog writers or these people to have a donate 10 years. I'm talking about 10, 12 years ago. So there's no easy way to donate something. But I would email them, make sure I got their bank account, even if that whole process took like a month or 2 months. One time I remember, somebody YouTube wasn't very developed, or you can say, it was for me it was a very slow way of learning, because people talk very slowly. So, and not a lot of good spiritual gurus were there on YouTube platform like 10, 12 years ago. So YouTube wasn't my thing, but I would read a lot of things online and would try to return the money. One time I found one somebody was teaching one small piece. He was a very old, very fragile kind of a guru on YouTube. And when I figured out that he lives in some remote village in India, it was so hard for me he didn't have a bank account, or and I didn't know anybody who would go and give that money or something to them. It took me 3 months to figure out how I can just give him something, how I can donate something to him. It took me 3 months, but I didn't stop my efforts towards that thing. Why? There's always this burning thing in me. I do not want to spend my punya, my good karma. And the reason for that is what I am going to use for my spiritual journey. When it comes to attain jnana, when it comes to attain samadhi, nothing will progress, nothing will move forward. Lot of times I will just keep on doing sadhana. Lot of people, I've seen lot of seekers keep on doing sadhana so religiously, so seriously, yet they are stagnant, they are not moving anywhere, because they are not left with much punya in their much of good karma. So things will take a long time, a very long time, to actually make a progress. If you had punya or good karmic balance, things will progress with rocket speed. So never spend punya in getting all kinds of free rides here and there. A lot of you understand this fact, and a lot of you donate just after watching some YouTube videos. If you like the material, if something is the wisdom that you understand properly, then you guys donate. And because you also have, in some ways, you do have such that kind of an understanding that let's not spend our good karmic balance, or we are not going to grow anywhere in spiritual. A lot of people stay delusional about, oh no, this is not how it works. I can ignore this piece of wisdom. I don't need to pay attention. Or that I do not have enough money, or that I do not have enough resources. No, everybody does. Donation, for if you have taken something, if you had the ability to take or receive something, you do have the ability to give back. Even as a child, I was giving back when I wasn't even earning. It's just that feeling that you want to give back. You will not take anything for free. Nothing in this samsara is ever free. You are paying in one way or the other. Now, let me tell you one thing. When I was walking my spiritual journey, I had a very powerful mystical experience. And after it happened, I had no way to understand it, or mentally comprehend it, and I had no idea how to decode it. What just happened and what was it for? So I was just searching the internet about those, writing those phrases that matched my, and I figured out there was a lady, a very old lady, and she was a mystic in America. So I went there. I booked her online session, an hour of 30-minute or 45-minute session with her, and I went there, and I paid the fees and everything. And I went there. Everybody around and people, I looked at her reviews and all that, and everybody said she's a very old, grumpy, and angry lady. And I thought, okay, let me go there and see what she says. And after listening to me, what has happened to her? She said one sentence, and it just clicked. I instantly understood, oh, yes. Yes, I knew it mentally, but I just wanted somebody to confirm it. So I was so happy when she said that. I was just, tears were rolling down my eyes, and I did not know. So in that very moment, I had some cash with me. So I said, I would like to donate something to you, even though I paid fees for her. But it's just that I was overwhelmed by that piece of wisdom that she just said. So I said, I would like to donate. And she became angry. What can you donate? What charity you can do? What do you think you came here for? She started yelling on me left and right. And I said, and I was quiet. And in that moment when she was yelling on me, somehow a light bulb clicked in my brain, and I saw that she is actually limping from her left leg. And I realized maybe she has something. And I said, okay, I'll not donate anything, but will you allow me to, massage your knee, put some oil on your knee, just for 5 minutes, okay? So now, since childhood, I was doing that, and everybody said that I had some healing powers, and I knew that, okay, I had healing powers, and something gets fixed if I massage or touch people, then in some ways they are healed always. So I did that, and now it was her time to get shocked. I was shocked when she was yelling at me. Then she was shocked with this request, but then she said, okay. So I sat down there, and I actually put some massage oil on her, and she was overwhelmed, because in America nobody offers something like that. It is not India where you can say, okay, let me wash your feet, or let me massage your feet, or let me do some other kind of seva to you, some other kind of service to you. It's easy to do in India, but in America you don't expect people to offer something like that. You don't touch the other person, period. It's a culture like that. But here I am offering that kind of a thing to her, so she was shocked. And then after doing all that, I just said so much thank you to her, and I left. And after 25 days, she called me just to say that a miracle has happened. And she had pain for 40 years in her knee, left knee, and it was healed. She was healed. She said she wanted to call me earlier, but every morning she thought, oh, so what? The pain will come back today. Oh, pain will come back today. But it didn't come back for like 2025. That's when she called me. Anyway, so what I'm trying to tell you is, even though I have lived into so many countries and places that culture is different, this is different, that is different, it's still that one very basic feeling that I want to give back. And I will give back one way or the other. If somebody has given me something, I will make sure that I give back to them. So you see, that is how a yogi lives life. And it wasn't that I was some sort of a rich kid. No, I wasn't. And it wasn't that I grew up in a rich family. No, I did not. And it wasn't that I always had a lot of money to spend on all these kind of efforts. No. No. I would control my needs. I will do pratyahara on my needs. Instead of buying 5 clothes, I may buy 2. Instead of buying 5 things, I may buy 1. Instead of buying something now, I may delay it to next month. But I would make sure I am not paying through my punya. Period. So much damn adamant on this thing I was all through my life, that I am not paying through my punya. And one major reason for that is that not only that it comes to your, not only that it stops you, if you have less good karmas in your karmic bank account, then not only that it stops you from growing into your spiritual journey, it does one more bad thing. It comes to your body. In some way, you will have some disease in your body going forward. And what this will do, forget about disease, even if a headache happens, a really, really sharp headache happens to you, or a migraine happens to you, or some kind of headache happens to you, you know that you cannot even do pranayam. You cannot do your spiritual sadhana at all. So imagine if a disease happens and every day you are taking medication, it's lowering down your pranic shakti. Every day you are fighting with your body first. Then you are thinking about doing some sadhana or this or that. So never ever deplete your good karmas. It will come onto your body. So just think now how good it is that spiritual gurus or teachers or Vedas teachers or acharyas or these people, at least they have this kind of an idea. And if they are offering for, if they are offering some course for fee, that is way too much of a too less of a amount, too less of a thing that you can ever give them. You cannot ever repay your gurus. We cannot repay back anything to our gurus. Forget about just the spiritual gurus. Think about your parents. The good sanskaras that they gave us. Our parents, our teachers around. The good sanskaras, the good things that they have given to us. They have taught us how to live life, what is right, what is wrong, how to look at karma, and that you are an atma. So many good teachings happen to us through our parents. Right? Is there a way we can ever pay them back? No. No matter how much money we spend on them now, taking care of them, that can never be equal to what they have given to us. Right? So painful it is to raise a child, and you realize it when you have a child of your own. We all realize it when we have a child of our own. Right? So how much painful it is. Is there ever a way to pay back our mother for all the nights she couldn't sleep because of us? No. There is none. So a guru who is teaching you how to reach Paramatma, how to attain moksha, since last so many damn lifetimes we were just struggling, fooling around and doing this and doing that, and so many lifetime we have wasted, and we are still not there yet. So a guru who is trying to take you there, who is helping you go there, you don't think you should give them something upfront. Either it could be in the form of donation, it could be in the form of fees. Something should be given back to them. And that would be the least amount of thing you would give them in comparison to spending your punya, balance of punya. I've seen a lot of people, they think that right now they can just go on attaining gyan, wisdom from YouTube because it's free, and taking this and that. And by the time they are about to start their sadhana, their pranic energy just goes down like anything. They are sick in their body, not being able to do any sadhana whatsoever. And then they realize, oh, what just happened? Yes, this is true. I stayed healthy throughout my life, and I had no disease or anything. I still do not have. I'm way much healthier than anybody can be at this age. Okay, and yes, I still do follow the same rule. Don't take anything without giving so much in return. So many things in return. Whether if a student is studying with me, okay, and they might have paid fees for or whatever, but the way I stay connected to them throughout their journey for years and for months, and slowly they start understanding that they can invoke me in their dreams, they can invoke me into their deep dhyana states to get the wisdom from me. So it's not just that they have to, and it's between all the gurus and disciples. They stay connected in such a bond for lifetime. So what you have paid really is nothing in comparison to what they will give you. Any guru will give you, or whomsoever you think of a guru will give you. It's never like that. So if you understand this one fact, then try not to pay for anything that is free. Try not to pay using your punya, through your good karmas. Don't pay them. Don't pay people like that. That is the worst financial management you can ever do in your life. Yes. That's the worst financial management karmic account balance that you can ever understand in life. Somebody, no matter how much, because later on, no matter how much money you saved, no matter how much money you have, you may have such a nice bed and a 10-bedroom house and such nice beds. But if you are taking sleeping pills to sleep, then it really doesn't matter whether you are sleeping inside this nice cozy bed and bedroom, or you are sleeping somewhere in the hospital bed. How does that matter? If you have to take a sleeping pill to sleep, or if your body is diseased, then that very house which you created for pleasure, for comfort, you're not going to find comfort anywhere. If there's no peace within because of the sickness in the body, forget about finding peace no matter where you go to. So then what is the use? Be a good karmic account balance analyst. Be a good financial analyst in life and see what is going from you, how you are paying, how things are being paid for. If you haven't paid any money, if you haven't donated anything, if you haven't paid anybody anything, but you have taken something, then see how you are paying. Be very mindful of that. This one factor stops thousands and thousands of seekers on their journey to attain moksha. This one piece of wisdom makes a lot of difference in life. So think about it, analyze it, introspect in your life. It's still not too late. Go back and do some kind of a service from where you have taken. Go back and donate something. If there is no way to do the service, then just donate something and fix it. Get your punya back. Build your account of good karmas back. So that when you do your spiritual sadhana, nothing disturbs you in your body, nothing disturbs you in this entire cosmos. Okay? Namaste. Jai Shivaya.